Greetings and salutations, friends, and welcome back. Welcome all of our current and maybe old friends, and hopefully some new friends. Tonight, I wanted to discuss some recent revelations which I knew, but I found incredibly troubling. And the reply from people who literally committed criminal acts in Lou Elizondo's name or in defense of Lou Elizondo just literally admitted to criminal acts of threats, intimidation, and doxing. And they did it against people who dared to question the Lou Elizondo narrative. I was one of the victims of theirs. But let me be very clear. I do not have a victim mentality. And for someone to threaten me is a serious matter. But when it rises to the level of threatening my wife and my children, serious action is required. And there's a lot of things that I could say about what it is that happened to me and the bitter, angry little men that thought it was a good idea to threaten me, my wife, my children, even were threatened by these people, by these pathetic little men. Because ask yourself this question. If they were standing right in front of me in a room where my wife and children also were, would they threaten myself and even my wife and children? Now, there's a lot I could say, but what I will offer you is that I have a lioness of a woman in the form of my wife, and God help anyone who threatens her children, my children. The fact that Lou Elizondo, who is also a sad little man, has not made any public statement after the revelation from a show producer claiming, now, and let me be very clear, this is an allegation that the show producer made. He claimed that Lou Elizondo directed those activities, directed that criminal activity against me and many other members of the so-called UFO community who dared to be critical of Lou Elizondo. The fact that he has not made a public statement speaks volumes, not only about the veracity of the claims being made against him, in my opinion, but also what kind of a man he is. Mr. Military Honor, right? Is it, I don't know, is there anything in the military universal code of honor about threatening people's wives and children, right? Being permissible for a military man to do? And what kind of a weasel directs cult-like lunatic followers to go and threaten somebody's wife and children? What kind of a man does that? And to be clear, I don't know with 100% certainty that he did that, but I suspected it. After all, he was just on that show whose members of that show, including the producer, the host, the co-host, came out and started attacking myself, my family, my children. And then right after that show did that to me and a host of all kinds of other people, Lou Elizondo went back on their show. And I said at the time, he was rewarding them for being his attack dogs. That's my opinion, and I'm entitled to it. But let's get back to the criminal stalking and harassment. Making terroristic threats across interstate lines is a federal crime. And this idiot show host just admitted that they did those things. But hey, Lou didn't direct us to do those things, according to him. Well, we have a problem here because there's a conflict. You said that you and your idiot co-host, who, by the way, likes to watch YouTube playlists that are 12 hours long of 5-year-old and 10-year-old little girls dancing, right? Real quality co-host that he had. So there's a conflict here because the producer of the show stated in writing that Lou Elizondo directed them to perform those attacks, and that Lou Elizondo wanted to destroy certain YouTube channels that were critical of him. And what we see at play here is a real conflict, because if this goes into any sort of a legal situation, what's going to happen? You have somebody making very, very serious allegations against, I don't know, 3 people, right? The show host, the co-host, and Lou Elizondo. Is their denial going to be enough to avoid any kind of legal problems that they may have? And let's be also very clear. At the time that this happened, at least to me, I collected all the evidence. I still have the evidence. But I did not file criminal complaints against those people. And now I'm considering doing that, because now we have evidence, more than I had on my own, that not only were these criminal actions perpetrated against me and other people, but they may have been directed by a UFO celebrity, fake Pentagon UFO program director, who, in my view, took money from people claiming that he ran a Pentagon UFO program. He took money, and then it turns out he didn't run that Pentagon UFO program. It wasn't an official program. It was an activity. It wasn't funded like he claimed. It wasn't his full-time responsibility. And in fact, the government has said he had no assigned responsibilities regarding UFOs. And you can come with all the excuses you want. Him taking money for speaking fees, for documentaries, for book deals, based on the lie that he ran a Pentagon UFO program that he can't prove that he did, is really extremely problematic for him, or may become very problematic for him going forward. If he wants to say former Pentagon official, I'm fine with that. But don't lie to everyone and claim that you ran a program. Where did you run the program? The goddamn land of make-believe? Taking people's money. You taking people's money, Lou Elizondo, based on lies in a New York Times article that you were the primary source of, shows what kind of a person you are. You directing, let's just say, less than stable people to go attack your critics. Did you tell them to threaten my wife? Did you tell them to threaten my children? You're a father yourself. What kind of a father would threaten another man's children or wives? But this is where we're at. And this is where we find ourselves, in a situation where this UFO cult has gotten completely and totally out of control. And there are literally people admitting that they performed criminal activities because somebody said something they didn't like about one of their UFO heroes. This whole situation has gotten incredibly dangerous. And ask yourself this: how long is it going to be before someone gets hurt, up to and including maybe murdered, by these unstable UFO zealots? And we can see parallels to this cult in other cults like Scientology. These tactics that they are using, up to and including threatening people's wives and children, threatening their livelihoods, threatening to get them fired, digging back 25 or 30 years into their past to find some skeletons that they can use against them. All of this is Scientology fair game. That's where they got this. In the cult of Scientology, the fair game doctrine essentially says You do anything and everything to silence the critics of our cult. What we are seeing from these UFO cult-like zealots is exactly what we have seen from the history of Scientology. And this toxic atmosphere, I really, really miss the days when UFOs and aliens, for me, was just sort of a fun activity. Like, let's look up some cases. Let's watch some documentaries. Just entertain myself with the possibilities of these things. I really miss the days when it was all fun and games. Hasn't been fun and games for me since people started attacking me, threatening me, doxing me, threatening my family, threatening in one case. By the way, the same people threatened to come here and do myself and my family harm. They put my address out on the internet. Well, actually, they can technically try to claim they didn't dox me. They put my legal name and the street name where I live out on the internet. And then they said, we didn't dox you. Well, if you Google my legal name and the street name I live on, you get my address. So, yeah, you doxed me. And they directed people to come and get me. And by the way, I just want to make sure that I make it public that anyone who dared to come to my home to attempt to cause either myself or any members of my household any harm whatsoever will have a real problem on their hands. Real big problem, huge problem, because I will defend my family first, and I will deal with whatever consequences come from that later. We want to take a moment to recognize the live chat. We've got a great crowd in here tonight. I know that many of you really are coming here for updates and news on the UFO hearings. And boy, have we got a lot to share with you, because it seems like the entire conspiracy land is going absolutely nuts with these hearings tomorrow. And we will certainly be bringing you some incredible updates and also, I think, some information that no one else has to share with you. I have been monitoring these things all day, trying to keep careful watch so that I could bring you all the news that I could on these things. We want to thank John Chow. Why so put off by the Scientology connection? Hal Putoff, who was a member of the TTSA techno scam, who, by the way, and I'll freely say it, Hal Putoff, you could do whatever you want. You've been scamming people for paranormal money your entire life, right? He was involved with SRI and psychic research. He was involved with Skinwalker Ranch. He was involved with the TTSA techno scam, and he was a super high-ranking member of Scientology. Maybe, just maybe, Lou Elizondo and the other shady bunch learned this doctrine of fair use from an actual Scientologist who knew about the doctrine of fair game, who knew about that, being a Scientologist. And thank you, by the way, John Chow, for your kindness, your generosity, and your support of the show. It is much, much appreciated. Lou Angeles, who was another victim of this doxing, slandering, intimidation, and harassment. And by the way, many of his co-hosts were as well. UFO Jane, Rather Be Squidding, and others were also victims of this UFO hate group. And, I really am sort of left at a loss, because there are things in my life that I believe very, very strongly in. But no matter how strongly I believe in those things, I would not threaten and intimidate and harass or try to put people in danger who disagree with those beliefs. But this is where we're at. And this is where we find ourselves. And these people are so willing to hurt people, so that they can preserve their delusion that these people that they worship are heroes and not UFO scammer grifters that they are. And let's be clear, that's what these people are. UFO scammer, grifter, liars. That's what they are. They're not heroes. They don't deserve a pedestal. They lie to you over and over. How many times do they have to lie to you before you wake up, you dummies, and go, oh, it's all about this guy filling his pockets with money. It's not about disclosure. It's not about the search for the truth. It's not about a government cover-up. These people are scammers that just want to fill their pockets with UFO money from stupid people like these people that went and threatened and intimidated and harassed everyone, harassing people at their jobs, harassing people's families. It's incredible. We want to thank the amazing Mystico for kindly generous $50. Very, very kind of you. In addition to a criminal complaint, you can file a civil RICO, racketeer influence and corrupt organization complaint. Here is $50 for your lawyer. Well, thank you very much, amazing Mystico. I'm going to look into all options. And while we're on this subject, I just want to put all of you idiots that are literally performing crimes, like King Milkfart, who has harassed so many people. There's literally an internet archive of all of his harassment against all the people that he has harassed. And by the way, Milkfart, if you ever speak of me again and try to connect me to the P word or try to hold me responsible for not digging 30 years into somebody's past and finding every skeleton I could before they were a guest here, if you ever direct anything towards me again, I'm contacting your mommy. That's right. I'm contacting King Milkfart's mommy. And King Milkfart's mommy and me are going to have a nice conversation about liability, because King Milkfart spends all day harassing people on Twitter. And guess whose business King Milkfart works for? His mommy. So if a company were to allow some unstable zealot, cult-like idiot to go and harass, slander, intimidate, and threaten people, not just on company time, but on company computers, company communications devices, that company is liable for all those actions. So Milkfart and his mommy, I should say, Milkfart's mommy and me are going to have a great conversation. And not just that, but whatever jurisdiction Milkfart's mommy's company is in, this is going to be an issue. So what I am saying is that since the cult of UFO has gone so bananas, I am no longer going to ignore threats, intimidation, slander, all that stuff. It's over. I'm just going to start filing. I'm going to do whatever I'm advised that I can do to stop these criminals. And let's be clear, threatening and intimidating people and harassing people across the interstate lines is a crime. We thank you for your kindness, generosity, and support. Amazing Mystico. Very, very generous of you. I thank you very much. A longtime show supporter. I appreciate that immensely. And we thank Anthony Peterson for a kind and generous $4 super sticker. And we thank Stoned Apex for kind and generous $9.99 super chat saying, good dad. I try my very best. I really try my very best to be a good father. I think that's one of the most important things in my life to get right. You know, occasionally, Stoned Apex, I think, you know, I can screw up anything else in my life, but I don't want to screw up this being a dad thing, you know? And thank you so much for your kindness, your generosity, and your support of the show. It is much, much appreciated. So to be clear, there is an entire archive of harassment that King Milkfart has done. And if that goes to a legal situation, I will subpoena his mother's company records to show that he did that on company time. So he's not just affecting himself like an idiot, right? He's affecting his whole family and their financial future by being an idiot like this and publicly threatening, intimidating people, harassing people, right? But it is what it is. I will not be intimidated or silenced by some idiot who works for his mommy, right? No, it's not going to happen. Think again. And again, Milk Fart is another one of those people who is attacking, threatening, intimidating, and harassing all of these people in the name of Lou Elizondo because they were critical of Lou Elizondo. And again, where is Lou Elizondo to say that this is not acceptable? I don't support or condone this. And now we have verifiable proof in the form of this show producer, according to the allegations made in his email to Lou Angeles, that Lou Elizondo directed that show to attack everyone. So can we reasonably assume that Lou Elizondo may be directing Milk Fart as to who to attack, threaten, intimidate, and harass? We thank you, Red Panda Koala, for a kind and generous $5. Says, important discussion. We don't have to accept this harassment culture as part of the UFO community. Well, problematically, Red Panda Koala, it's going on both sides now. And now I understand that some of the people who are getting threatened, intimidated, and harassed may be just reacting. But I don't support, condone, or appreciate anyone threatening, intimidating, and harassing people. I don't. Two wrongs does not make a right. But thank you for your kindness, generosity, and support. And we thank Sandra McDonald for a kind and generous $14.99 Australian. You have a very supportive following. And thank you as well for being a member, Sandra McConnell, longtime show supporter. Thank you for your kindness, your generosity, and support. So we're going to get into this letter, which I think is extremely important because it establishes, first of all, that Lou Angeles was 100% right when he said certain things, and that I was 100% right when I said certain things, especially when I said that this show was the people who were doxing, threatening, and harassing myself and my family. And by the way, they're idiots too, because they just literally admitted to criminal activity, and I have all the receipts. Not a very smart thing to do. And why does that guy still have a YouTube channel when he's using his YouTube channel to do what he's doing, right? Incredible. And congratulations, you dummy. You fell for the lies. And then you put yourself in jeopardy, right? Doing criminal activity against people in that person's name. A liar. Great. You're real smart, right? But these aren't the best of people, I mean, that one show host, he abandoned his wife and children so that he can go be somebody's gay houseboy bottom bitch. That's the kind of man he is, right? So, of course, a man who would abandon his own family doesn't see a problem with threatening somebody's wife and children, because that's what kind of a man he is. And again, I would challenge them to do that again with me in the same room as them. They won't. They wouldn't come near me in person. They wouldn't have the manhood to do that, right? Just let's be keyboard warriors, right? Let's hide behind our computers and try to attack this person and his family, because that's what kind of weasels we are. We are weasels. Amazing. So I'm going to get into this letter because I thought it was very important. And by the way, I want to thank Lou Angeles for releasing this to the public, because I think this is extremely, extremely important. All right. Let me make sure that I get this right. Oh, 1 second. Let me change that. Oh. All right. You'll have to excuse me, friends, because I happen to be visually impaired. So I'm gonna have to blow this up a little bit, or I'm gonna have trouble reading it. 1 second here. Let's find it again. Why don't I see that? Okay, 1 second, friends. All right, I'll just try to do my best. This is Gary, Ack. And of course, he's writing this to Lou Angeles, from formerly of Unidentified Celebrity Review. I know we've had our arguments in the past, but I have to tell you something. Oh, wait a minute. I do have it. Here we go. All right. Just bear with me because, like I said, I have a hard time with small print. I was overhearing a couple of calls between Rob and Lou Elizondo. I didn't know I was there. And they were both on a mission to bring down various YouTube channels. Lou Elizondo is on a mission to bring down various YouTube channels. It was at this point I lost faith in Lou and realized that I had been a pawn in his game. Yeah, how many other pawns have there been? Lou Angeles, Thomas Fessler, Jeremy McGowan, Brian Bender, and many more, right? So he says, I have been a pawn in his game, being promised things. I was having trouble with another community, destroying my life and pushing me to the brink of suicide many times. I was told they would sort my issues if I helped them. I'm an idiot, so I believed it, hoping that I would get closure on what had happened to me before. Turns out that was a total lie. Thomas, he's the host of this idiot disclosure show, was also promised BS things from Lou, meaning Lou Elizondo, to be clear, two that never transpired after being asked to go out and defend him and his family. Great. Thomas won't reveal any of this because Rob has caused enough crap already. But I want you to know that Richard Butt was discussed too. And I did the thing that is very untrustworthy, something I shouldn't have done, but I did as I didn't trust him. I recorded those conversations. This is great. So now we've got Richard Butt and this ack. There's going to be recordings. And by the way, I'm told that those recordings are going to be released. So all the idiots that then try to spin this and lie about it, you're an idiot, because there's literal audio recordings that will confirm that this person is telling the truth about all of this, about Lou Elizondo and Rob Heatherly out to destroy YouTube channels, right? It's great. I have those conversations still on my computer. I'm unsure what to do about them. You released them, sir. And by the way, this person, Ack, was one of the people who threatened, intimidate, harassed, and doxed me, threatened, intimidated, and harassed myself and my family. But I will say this, if he releases these tapes, I forgive him, and I'm not going to take any further action against him, because all men are capable of making tremendous mistakes, but it takes a real man to stand up and do what you can to repair those mistakes. And by the way, I'm not looking for an apology from him. He can apologize to me by releasing these recordings and setting the record straight about all of this. I'm unsure what to do about them. They will know it's me if it leaks out. But it also shows that you are absolutely correct on your recent show. They have been using us all to turn against each other, and it has worked. You will notice that we separated as far away from Rob as possible. He was looking people up, calling local authorities. Rob Heatherly, allegedly or apparently, at the request of Lou Elizondo, was calling people's local police stations about critics of Lou Elizondo and asking Lou to gather information on you all. I can't be around that stuff. I'm not speaking on behalf of Disclosure Tonight or Thomas. I'm speaking this from me, myself, and I. Thomas doesn't even know I'm sending this. I hate the way I spoke to you back when we fought. I really do. And I do apologize. I really do. A lesson was learned, though. I'll own my stuff and people can fight for themselves. I could kick myself that I was played like that. You have every right to hate me and not talk to me or email me back, but please know that someone has the proof to back you up. I just have to find a way of doing it. I think the most important takeaways from this is here's yet another person that feels like they were manipulated and used and abused by Lou Elizondo. How many more people are we going to find in the community that feel that they have been used and abused by Lou Elizondo before people start waking up to that man is not who he claims to be? An honorable man would not do any of this. That man has no honor. He's a goddamn weasel. There, I said it. Lou Elizondo is a weasel because only a weasel sends other people to do their dirty work for them in secret, right? This letter is incredibly troubling, but for me, it was a vindication that I wasn't crazy when I say Lou. My opinion was that Lou Elizondo told them to do all these things to me, my family, my children, my wife, and also everyone else. And let's be clear, there was many, many people that they did the same thing to me they did to others. Threaten, intimidate, harass, direct people to go get him. Go get him. Here's his address. Go get him. That's how dangerous this cult of UFO has become. And let me just be very, very clear again in saying that if someone were to be stupid enough to come to my home, I will absolutely and incredibly aggressively defend my family first, and then I'll deal with whatever consequences come. It would be an incredibly stupid thing for anybody to think that they're going to harm anyone here at my home, right? And I'm a Second Amendment person. That's all I'm going to say. So good luck. Good luck. Better come. If you're going to come, you better be prepared. You better be prepared for the consequences that may come from attempting to threaten me in person, or, God forbid, threaten my family in person. Because God may have mercy on your soul, but I will not. And that's where I'm at with this. Now, it would also appear that Milk Fart is being directly controlled by the puppet master. And there is substantial evidence and proof of that. Also, this Toxic Sawan character. Yeah, incredible that these people are stupid enough to sit in Twitter spaces or live stream shows that are being recorded and essentially admit that they're being manipulated by the higher ups in the cult, right? Incredible. Incredible. 1 second. We're gonna share this as well. And this, of course, is from the King Milk Fart Harassment Archive. That's how much these people have harassed people. So much that there's an archive of all of the harassment. That's how out of hand this situation has gotten. And by the way, Milk Fart, I'm telling you again, if you ever speak about me again, I'm contacting your mommy's company and we're going to take it from there. And your mommy's company is going to be liable for all the things that you have done, right? That'll be great. I'm sure your stepdad is going to love finding out what his idiot stepson has been doing all day at work on company computers, on company time, on company communication devices. Great job, you idiot. So this apparently is about the UAP talk. And essentially, it confirms other things that I've talked about here, like the fact that, in my opinion, Lou Elizondo and others direct these psychopaths about who to attack and who to leave alone. Who's on the good side, right? Who's the good guys? There's no good guys here. But they are directing these psychopaths who are harassing people, intimidating people, threatening people, doxing people, and more. And also, it also should be noted that we got an important admission from Rob Heatherly, the person involved in this ack thing that was directed by Lou Elizondo, according to ack to silence his critics. Rob Heatherly admitted to doxing people. You know, this is getting ridiculous. And now is the time when I truly believe that law enforcement has got to become involved here. Because if we keep letting these psychopathic idiots go, somebody's going to get really hurt here. And to be very honest, it may be one of them. How do we not understand that they may threaten or intimidate or harass the wrong guy, right? I mean, I grew up on the mean streets of Philadelphia, and let me tell you, occasionally you'd see somebody that effed around, and then they found out you messed with the wrong person. How do we not know or understand that one of these psychopathic cult-like zealot idiots is going to use these tactics against someone that's not going to just let it go like so many others have done? This situation has gotten incredibly, incredibly dangerous. And here we have a talk about Sawan and King Milkfart. They confirm that they take orders on who to attack and who not to attack.
The UAP talk. Sawan and King Milkfart confirm that they take orders on who to attack and who to not attack. Within 48 hours of Sawan going rogue and attacking everyone, he was given the UAP talk.
Seriously, what's going on in Samhain world? It looked like you're a rogue now.
So yeah, I just tweeted that out. So I was pissed at Corbell, but then some people that know Corbell well told me this is how it has to be. Like some people that know Corbell and know what's going on with this disclosure process talked to me about it and told me to chill the fuck out and understand why Corbell was doing the way what he is doing.
Yeah, so you can't criticize the higher ups in the cult because you'll get a talk like this, but they can certainly direct you of who you should be talking smack on and attacking.
So I'm not going to give him a hard time about it anymore.
Yeah, Sawan's had several pull aside talking tos, and he knows what's up. He's been learned. Oh,
he's been pulled aside and given a talking to about who to attack and who to leave alone and not attack. Is this sounding a little more like a cult to you? Because it certainly is to me. I think
everything's going to be just fine.
Can you tell Uplifting Tweets to unblock me? I don't know why he blocked me. I think he got mad that I was supplying him in something. I was saying Corbell's a grifter, and I think he took it as I was saying he was a grifter as well.
No. He was just I'm sure, like most people, he didn't know that you had the talk.
The next day.
Oh, he had to talk. So it's okay. It's okay now. Yeah, don't call Corbell a grifter. Leave him alone. Attack these other people.
So Milkfart, you haven't gotten the talk yet. Only Sawan has. He's the only one who got the talk from your handlers yet.
From who?
From your handlers, the people who tell you who is okay to attack and who you need to calm down on. Like they gave a talk to Sawan earlier.
Okay, but who are these people?
You tell me, bro.
Genuinely, I don't know what you're talking about.
Okay, I'll put it out there.
The people who you said gave a talk to Sawan and told him to calm down on UAP, Dan and them. Who is it that is giving these talks to people and saying it's okay to attack these people and not these people?
I tweeted at Sawan a couple times telling him to chill. Is that what you mean?
No, I'm talking about the people in the space yesterday that you were talking about that you said gave him a talking to, and he's going to be good now.
Oh, those people. Yeah, no, I don't know who they are. That was what Sawan told me.
He doesn't know who they are. Yeah, he has no idea who they are.
Several pull-aside talking tos, and he's
so ridiculous.
I'm sure, like most people, he didn't know that you had the talk.
Oh, brainwashed cult members, great. The UAP talk. This is wonderful. The UAP talk. So there are this is a cult-like group, And there are higher up members of the cult-like group who get the lower rung psychopaths aside and say, don't mess with that person, leave them alone. You know, it's all for disclosure, right? It absolutely incredible. And I think I missed some things while we're doing the presentation here, so let me try to catch up. Oh yeah, Larry Love, thank you for your kindness. Do you think Sean Ryan is willing to participate? Is a willing participant in the Greer Spear? I think that he is a profiteering whore. That's what I think. And we have, and today, by the way, I tweeted at him some so-called evidence from his UFO whistleblowers. You know, that fake government document that says classified as hell on it from Eric Hecker. Yeah, great. Yeah, and Red Panda Koala's here and says, release the tapes, Gary. And I 100% agree. 100% agree. Comply Zert is here with a kind of generous $6.66. Says, Stephen, buddy, keep hunting them down. $666, because then are the gins of ufology. Thank you for your kindness, your generosity, and support. And wow, Selena G, very generous of you. Don't let them bring you down. We support you. F. Lou and all those grifters, Mike and Selena. Oh, thank you. The birthday guy and his beautiful girlfriend, Selena, who watch our show together. Thank you guys for your kindness, your generosity, and your continued support of the show. It is much, much appreciated. We appreciate you and all that you've done to try to support our show. Thank you for your kindness, your generosity, and support, all of you guys, and for all of you helping us to praise the cash. Kevin Gerhardt is here and says, come on, Stephen, don't hold back. Tell us how you really feel. Well, I thought it would be important to put all these things on the record because, you know, I just want to make sure that people understand certain things. Chief among them, you know, and threatening me is one thing, but when you start threatening my family, you know, may God have mercy on your soul, because I won't. That's exactly how I feel about it. Yeah. The Walter Bosley here is here and says, Hecker, another goof. Did you see, though, Walter Bosley, his evidence? Did you see his evidence? He tweeted, or excuse me, on his website, he had a document that he claimed was a real top secret document. And at the top of it, pardon me, I'm trying to find it now. Oh, yeah, I do have it. Okay, I can share it here. At the top of it, Walter Bosley, and I can send you this, or you can get it off of Twitter. At the top of Eric Hecker's document, this is one of Stephen Greer's so-called whistleblowers. This is his proof. He says, all the evidence and proof is on my website. Well, this was on his website, a so-called preliminary assessment of unidentified aerial phenomenon. And at the top of it, it's designated classified as hell. Walter Bosley, it says classified as hell right at the top. So it must be some good top secret shit. This is so ridiculous. Eric Hecker is a joke. And of course, Sean Ryan is a joke for sitting there and listening to him. It's absolutely ridiculous. And I tweeted at Sean Ryan today. This is because he's upset. He made a video getting pissed off because people are, you know, being critical of his choice to air those UFO whistleblowers. They're not whistleblowers. Whistleblowers have evidence. They have no evidence. It's amazing. Amazing. Yes, hell, the highest level of classification. Thank you, Ganja73, holding down the Twitch chat. Yeah, so we have quite a number of people here. I think that I have said my piece on the cult of UFOs being out of control. And I think that most people, especially an outsider looking in, like a law enforcement person, a cop or an FBI agent, looking at this situation would agree with me. These people are out of control, and their criminal activity has risen to a level where they should be arrested, they should be prosecuted, and they should face a jury of their peers or whatever for what they've been doing in the name of disclosure, right? Incredible. Yeah, what is a milk fart? I think that's when you drink too much milk and you fart. I don't know where he got that, but thank you, Chuck Bam, for your kindness, generosity, and support. Absolutely ridiculous. And while we're on this subject, you know, I will mention that somebody had some skeletons in their closet that was a previous guest here. And this KMF and other people are trying to crucify me because I didn't go back 25 years into somebody's past and found a skeleton in their closet. And I looked into that situation a little bit, and you're getting inaccurate information. I'm not defending that person's skeletons at all, or that person. In fact, not very happy with that person for not disclosing that to me before coming as a guest here, because they should know that I have a very strong stance against those kind of things. But it is what it is. I can't be held responsible because we don't do a $300 background check on every guest that comes here. You know, we just don't have the funds to do that. I certainly don't want to bring a guest here that will reflect negatively on either my show or myself. But the only way to be sure is to do a very extensive criminal background check of that person's entire history. And we just don't have the funds to do that for every time we want to have a guest. But I will say, I have some guests planned. I have some guests already booked. And so those people I'm gonna do the interviews with, but we have to develop some strategy to prevent this from happening in the future. Because certainly people are going to use anything they can against me. And if I have somebody as a guest and we later find out that they have some kind of criminal activity in their past, and you know, people are going to say, see, he's hosting criminals, you know, and again, this is just another attack vector. And by the way, another attack vector is, well, I'll talk about that one on another show, but I'm trying to alleviate that. Some time ago, somebody put my name on something really without my permission. I didn't really think the situation through. I let it go. And now people use that as an attack vector saying, see, you're making money with that person. No, apparently that person's making money. And that's a long story for another time, but I'm giving that person an opportunity to take my name off of that thing and resolve the situation. I'm giving them 7 more days. Then I'll talk about that situation publicly. It is what it is. Local 556 is here. Stephen, as a former law enforcement, I agree with you. However, the issue is with all the different jurisdictions of the victims of the doxing and the jurisdictions of the offenders. That's why I think it's got to be FBI, because they're doing it across interstate lines, first of all, and they're targeting multiple people in multiple states. So I think that would be an FBI jurisdictional situation. But I'm going to have some time to reach out to someone I know who works for the FBI, give them all of this evidence and ask them their opinion. Local 556 says, pardon me, it's messy and would require a multi-agency approach, which requires several cases documented and accumulated. Yeah, I mean, I'm not a law enforcement officer. I have some friends that are, though. I haven't really discussed this situation with them other than to confirm that what these people did is a crime. You know, and it is very complicated. It's very complicated. Swink McLeod says civil suits can go across jurisdictions. Yeah. And local says, I agree, the FBI is the route to go, but it requires many victims to supply many case numbers, which requires victims to report to their local police departments. Yeah, I agree, you know, but what I'm saying is most of us that suffered this harassment, intimidation, threats, and doxing and all that stuff, we didn't do that. We didn't file police reports. We didn't file criminal charges against those people immediately. Hindsight is always 20/20. That's exactly what all of us should have done. All of us should have filed police reports and filed criminal charges against the people that did this. All of us should have done that. And all this would have stopped back then, because it's continuing. It just keeps going. There's just new victims, right? And it would be also important, before we wrap up our discussion of the UFO cult situation, to recognize and understand that all of these cult-like tactics were also employed by Corey Goode. And So essentially, that means that Lou Elizondo is no different from Corey Good. I'll say it again. Lou Elizondo is no different from Corey Good, who got caught using the exact same tactics. Corey Good had secret Facebook groups where his cult-like followers would all get together and plan their harassment and intimidation campaigns against Corey Good's critics. They would make memes and trade memes to attack, threaten, intimidate, and harass Corey Good's critics, and certainly slander them, defame them, say all kinds of stuff. And that Corey Good group also doxed a whole bunch of people who were critics of Corey Good. So Lou Elizondo is no different than Corey Good, in my view. Same kind of cult-like mentality, same kind of cult-like tactics from largely losers that are unstable people who have nothing else going on in their life. They attach onto this, they worship the hero cult leader, and then they do this criminal activity. In the form of Corey Good, that was all criminal activity. Corey Good even paid a neighbor of Bill Ryan's to take pictures of his house so that they could use those pictures in a video to threaten and intimidate and slander and harass him. We reported on that here. So these tactics are not new. Corey Good used them. You know who else uses tactics exactly like this? The Billy Meyer cult. So, even if you were a huge supporter of Lou Elizondo, I want to ask you, do you support and condone Billy Meyer, the Billy Meyer cult, doing all those things to their critics? Slander, attack, call them the P word, having problems with children. They all do this. They all do this. The Billy Meyer cult calls people the P word, tells everybody that guy's got a problem with children with absolutely no evidence, absolutely none. In some cases, there's no arrests or criminal convictions or anything. They just throw out that P word against their critics. Corey Good and some of his supporters have done that against his critics. And now we've got Elizondo and his supporters doing that against Elizondo's critics. The tactics are the same. So, like I said, even if you're a huge supporter of Lou Elizondo, if you don't support and condone Billy Meyer's cult doing those things or Corey Good's cult doing those things, then why do you sit in silence as Lou Elizondo's cult-like followers apparently do the very, very same things? You can't sit in silence. You can't condemn the Billy Meyer sex cult and the Corey Good secret space cult for doing those ridiculous, dangerous, criminal things, and not also condemn Lou Elizondo for using those very same tactics, allegedly, according to witnesses. It's very troubling. And, to try to wrap this up here and get on with the UFO hearing news, what I will say is Lou Elizondo hasn't made a statement about any of this. I think that his silence on these issues speaks volumes. And I'm entitled to my opinion. Why? Listen, ask yourself this. If you heard that people were running around and literally committing crimes in your name or in defense of you or because someone was critical of you, and you heard that all these people were harassing people, threatening people, intimidating people, doxing people, threatening to come to their home, threats of physical violence, threatening wives, threatening children. If you heard that someone was doing all of that in defense of you, wouldn't you stand up and say something about that? Wouldn't you stand up and say, hey, I don't support or condone people doing that for me? Lou Elizondo still has not done that. And until he does, he's got to say something. Do I think he's going to? No. He's trying to figure out how to get that book out and still make some money, while his whole narrative has come crashing down like the house of cards it was, built on a foundation of lies. It was a house of cards built on a foundation of lies. And hey, Lou Elizondo, are you ever going to give all that TTSA money back? Is Hal Puthoff going to give the investors the TTSA money back? How much money did you get out of the TTSA thing? Are you just going to keep everybody's money and none of those investors get their money back? Lou Elizondo said that, according to Jeremy McGowan, Lou Elizondo said that Tom DeLonge was going to go into jail for misusing those funds. But it looks like, not just Tom DeLonge, because they were all in on it. They all got money. So the cult of UFO is out of control. And, I can talk for another 2 hours about more examples just like this one of these dangerous tactics being employed by very dangerous, unstable people. And let's be clear, if you've been around the UFO community for a while like I have, you know that the UFO community is filled with a lot of vulnerable people, a lot of mentally ill people, a lot of very paranoid people, and a lot of extremely unstable people. So winding up a bunch of people like that and setting them to go defend you and your family or attack your critics or whatever you want to call it is a recipe for murder or other disasters to happen. And how selfish, stupid, and irresponsible was it if these allegations made against Lou Elizondo are true? And he indeed took a bunch of psychopathic, unstable, possibly mentally ill, vulnerable people and winded them all up and told them to go attack his critics. How selfish of him. How irresponsible of him. Someone could have been seriously injured. Someone could have been shot, murdered, whatever. Did he think about that? Or did he think about, I don't want to lose any more UFO dollars than I have to because of these goddamn critics. So go get them. And Fessler, the idiot, said, go get them. This cult of UFO is out of control. And all of this is all so that certain people can make millions of dollars selling lies. That's what this is about, protecting the flood of money that's coming into them. This isn't about disclosure. It's not about some altruistic search for the truth. It's about money. Follow the money. How much money has Lou Elizondo made so far? He hasn't had a real job since he left the Pentagon, right? Or does he? Oh, he's a consultant. Maybe a security person for the Department of Energy. He's never answered that question either. Amazing. Incredible. But how much money has he made from UFOs so far? We've got book deals, television deals, all that TTSA money. What did they collect? $3 million? How much of that $3 million went to Lou Elizondo? The cult of UFOs is out of control. And, at some point, like I said, this is already getting beyond dangerous. And mark my words, if something is not done immediately to stop these psychopathic attacks against people who simply express their opinions or ask too many questions, someone is going to get hurt badly or murdered. It's going to happen because eventually they're going to wind up the wrong UFO nutter and send out the wrong UFO nutter to go attack people. And my prayer is that this situation is diffused and resolved. And guess who can diffuse it instantly? Lou Elizondo, who's sitting there like a dummy in silence, probably because he can't figure a way to weasel out of this one. Some intelligence officer. Now, my friends, we will get to the UFO hearing news. There has been a firestorm of news. Oh, you know what? Oh no, I'm not even going to share that. It's okay. So there has been a firestorm of things that I would like to share with you on the eve of disclosure to some, on the eve of another nothing burger to others. So it turns out that 2 of the 3 people testifying at the hearing are all seeking funding for their organization, safeaerospace.org. And let's see, Alex Dietrich is on the leadership council of Ryan Graves' organization. David Fravor, who's also testifying. So we've got Ryan Graves and David Fravor are all part of this safeaerospace.org, who, by the way, are seeking funding. Who else is on it? Some names I'm not familiar with. Brian Bender. Boy, that's great. How do you go from somebody that reports on the, defense industry to somebody who is going to become a UAP talking head, right? Amazing. And I think we have another common name here. Oh, Avi Loeb, the guy who made millions of dollars telling us that a space rock was an alien space probe. Turns out it wasn't. Talk to any real scientist. Well, Avi Loeb is a real scientist, but I think Avi Loeb is a bit of a wackadoo who has so far made millions of dollars making alien claims and proving nothing. He's got an organization too seeking funding. Head of the Galileo project, right? Oh, and then Christopher Mellon is also a part of this. Oh, and Gary Nolan is also a part of this organization. So a bunch of the TTSA gang are here in the same organization with David Fravor and Ryan Graves, who are testifying before Congress tomorrow. Great. Are they gonna talk about how they're looking for funding for a UFO organization? Is this all just grandstanding to get funding? Kind of like how TTSA worked? And, I've heard other people say this. This is OSAP 3.0. We had OSAP, then we had TTSA. That was OSAP 2.0, right? And now we've got OSAP 3.0 in the form of this organization run by all these UFO clowns that have been begging people for UFO dollars for years. And, I get the argument. People make the argument about Christopher Mellon being so loaded, he doesn't need money. I'll accept that argument, but I think Christopher Mellon wants fame and power and attention. Go find people who have more money than they could ever, spend in a lifetime. Once they get bored of the acquisition of money and it's no longer a challenge and they have so much, what do they want? Fame or power, usually. And Gary Nolan, who, if you ask me, is a disgraced professor of Stanford University. By the way, it's Stanford University got literally caught pushing medical disinformation during the health crisis. They got caught running an organized campaign of medical disinformation, and he works for their pathology department. Was Gary Nolan in on that? And is this all, by the way, I got accused of being a disinformation agent earlier on Twitter. And I just want to be sure to recognize that we here at our show have an 8-year track record of getting the story right. So please show me the disinformation that I've been pushing, because we've gotten virtually every story that we've done right in 8 years. Go ask any journalist how hard that is to maintain that kind of a good track record, right? We really do our very best to have facts in hand before putting mouth in gear. So if you're going to call me a disinformation agent, show me examples of false information that I have promoted. It's very troubling to me that all of this hearing could be just a dog and pony show for Tim Pritchett, who happens to be friends with all these UFO clowns. That's another thing that's important that we really need to recognize. Tim Pritchett hangs out with Jeremy Corbell and George Knapp. He hangs out with Third Phase of Moon, the biggest UFO scammers in history, right? He does interviews with them and stuff. He's friendly with Third Phase of Moon. How many other UFO scammers is Tim Pritchett hanging out with, right? Incredible that the guy who's hanging out with all the UFO scammers pushing unproven, unverifiable, in some cases, completely false narratives, fake stories for money, is going to he's going to run the hearing that's going to get to the truth of this stuff. Great. We want to thank UFO John Doe. who says Conman, Knapp, and Corbell are submitting written testimony to be entered into the congressional record. Did you hear the wackadoo who said he'll release alien UFO videos from whistleblowers if not shown tomorrow? Yes, and I'm going to share all of that. It's already on my list. I have bullet points to share, UFO John Doe, and you jumped the gun, but it's okay. We're going to talk about that. Yes, UFO John Doe. And by the way, thank you for your kindness, generosity, and support. Longtime show supporter, UFO John Doe. This is incredible. The same people who scammed us with the Bob Lazar story are now directly in on this hearing. They're going to submit written testimony. These guys, George Knapp and Jeremy Corbell, have made millions of dollars on the Bob Lazar scam. And yeah, I'm calling it a scam, George Knapp. Do what you're going to do. I'm calling it a scam, Jeremy Corbell. You knowingly scammed the public out of millions of dollars for a story you had to know wasn't true. And you perpetrated that scam by leaving out all the information that proves Bob Lazar is a fake scientist, convicted pimp, liar. But that's the people who are going to enter written testimony into the congressional record tomorrow. Is this entire hearing just a way for Burchett to help his UFO scammer friends get new material to sell their stupid followers? Because it's sure looking like this to me. Sure looking like this. Thank you very much, UFO John Doe. I appreciate you. And Terry Brown with a kind and generous $5. And thanks for being a member. Stephen, speaking the words that need to be said and heard. Yes, thank you for your kindness, generosity, and support, Terry Brown. And also thank you for being a member. We appreciate, we're very generous of all you guys in the live chat tonight. Thank all of you. So I have so much more to share. Boy, there has been an awful lot. So we've got the revelation that two of the three people testifying tomorrow, and let's be very clear, I think Grush is going to be in on that, but they didn't want to make it so obvious, so they didn't put his name on the website yet, right? I think Grush is going to be in on that organization with all the other UFO grifters. Now, UFO John Doe mentioned this clown, who, by the way, is the same clown who repeated Greer's story, saying that there's going to be a FBI or a joint strike force composed of FBI and special forces and members of the military who are going to invade private companies or anybody that's keeping UFO secrets. You remember that idiot? Yeah. He thinks he's a Corbell or something too. He's got new fake stories. The last huge fake story was that there's going to be strikes happening against private companies. Whatever happened to that? Nothing came of it. Of course, no evidence, no proof that any strike team invaded private companies or other people. You know, essentially his story was just repeated from Greer, which is that the FBI and a special forces team are going to bust down the doors of these people that are holding those spaceships hostage, right? And not giving us the spaceships or the alien bodies. They're just going to bust through the doors of private companies too. Whoever's holding the UFO secrets. It was all just another stupid Greer fake story. Like his porta potty secret base. That was one of my favorites. For those unaware, Stephen Greer showed graphics of an apparent underground base, and there was like 30 porta potties outside. Because apparently, you know, the United States government is capable of building top secret bases to study alien technology and even alien biology, but they can't build a bathroom in the underground base. You have to use the porta shitter outside up top. It is laughable. But this same clown is now making new ridiculous claims. I have 4 never before released UAP UFO videos that I have been given permission to show you, but then he doesn't show us, right? All the details are in this short video. This guy's so full of it, he waddles when he walks.
Back here, UAP, Unidentified Alien Podcast, and I'm back just real quick, nothing long today. I want to let you know about the information that I've been given by an anonymous whistleblower who works.
Oh, again with the whistleblower. Anonymous, though. Why is everybody using the term whistleblower lately? It's sickening. Like, pick another word, doofus.
Within the military ranks and has access to Department of Defense. So this anonymous whistleblower gave me 4 videos recently, I guess I'll say. And these 4 videos show unreleased, unseen, never to the public eye, spherical UAPs. Some of these videos have multiple spherical UAPs. It's pretty incredible stuff, actually. I've watched it numerous times just to study
pretty
it
incredible
and try to
stuff.
figure
But I can't show it to you. Now we're gonna get to the. I can't show it to you.
out what I was seeing. But what I'm trying to tell you is I have these videos, and with their permission, I've been speaking to this anonymous whistleblower now for a while, and with their permission, I'm going to release these videos if and only if they're not shown tomorrow during the congressional hearings with Ryan Graves, David Grush, and David Fravor.
Oh, so if they don't release them, I will. This is the same guy. Pardon me. This is the same clown who said that there was FBI and secret special forces teams invading warehouses where the UFO secrets were being kept. Now he's got 4 videos, but he can't show it to us.
The reason I say that is because those men, I think, are extremely brave, and I have a lot of admiration for those guys, and I think they
Yeah, why don't you just suck their cocks already?
deserve 100% complete spotlight tomorrow for those hearings. And I don't want to preempt anything because I have no idea. I haven't been told. I have no source on this at all of what is going to be said or shown tomorrow during those hearings. So I don't.
Yeah, I'm just at a loss with this clown.
Don't want to take away from that if one of these videos are going to be shown tomorrow, and then I kind of steal that thunder by releasing one of those videos for some reasons.
You know, I'm getting awfully sick of people who claim they have evidence, but they can't show it to us. You know, that is such a childish, ridiculous thing. Like, you know, it's, I've said this so many times before. It's like a child on a playground saying they got a laser gun, but they can't show it to you. You know, I do got a laser gun, but it's secret. I can't see it. I can't show it to you. It's so ridiculous.
So I'm just playing it safe on that end. I'm waiting for the hearings to be over. If these videos that I have, 4 videos, if they're not shown, there you go, 4 videos. If they're not shown during the hearings, I will release them one by one at the request. This isn't me just doing something.
And by the way, he said spherical UFOs. Let me guess, these are videos of metallic mylar balloons that, you know, are nothing extraordinary.
Something at the request of the anonymous whistleblower who, again, works within the military ranks and has the...
Oh, yeah. He works in the military, but he's anonymous. So you can't talk to him and verify that I'm not full of it here. You know, just like I was full of it when I said that strike teams are invading private companies right now, right?
Access to DOD these videos. So I'm doing that at their behest, permission, whatever you want to say. This isn't something I'm just throwing out there. That's all for now. Wanted to let you know what's on the horizon. If these videos are not released tomorrow during the congressional hearings, I'll be watching with you to see what's said and to see what's shown. Here's to hoping it's going to be amazing. For now, Stephen Diener.
I don't even want to let the guy say his name, lest, you know, stupid people end up following this idiot. And by the way, that's just one example of a lot of claims that people are making on this so-called eve of disclosure. It is really, really ridiculous. Now, let's move on to Tim Burchett, who I mentioned is supposed to be one of the Congress people that is chairing tomorrow's hearing, along with Miss Luna, who we previously reported had said that she was preparing slides for the hearing and it was all fake UFOs. By the way, she has since taken that tweet down. I have called and messaged and emailed her office every day since she did that, asking for comment, and they refuse to comment so far. I've even spoken to one of her aides by telephone, and they're not too happy with me calling that office a lot. You know, the one guy, I said, hey, I'm going to call you every morning. We can have our coffee and breakfast together and talk. We'll catch up every day. I'll call you tomorrow too. I want some answers. They won't give me any answers. But interestingly, Mr. Burchett who we previously have covered here, hangs out with UFO scammers. There, I said it. That person hangs out with UFO scammers. He's friendly with Third Phase of Moon, Jeremy Corbell, George Knapp, and many, many more. Right? And by the way, I can't get an interview. So, you know, I don't have any reason to be kind to him anymore. This man hangs out with UFO scammers, and he's the one who's running the hearing. A guy who, knowing we all know, is very friendly with all the people that are making millions of dollars pushing completely, totally fake stories. That's the guy running the hearing. Or is he? Apparently, Mr. Burchett tweeted that he was told he's not running the hearing. And then this other person popped up who claimed that he was running the hearing, right? I'm a little confused. So Robert Garcia said, this is the person who is a Democrat. He said that he was running the hearing. And then people corrected me and said, no, he's not running the hearing. It's getting confusing, right? One second, I'm trying to find this. Yeah, so Tim Burchett, he tweeted that he was informed he's no longer chairing the UFO hearing. I was just informed, along with @real Anna Polina, that's the girl who was preparing slides of totally fake UFOs from UFO scammers. You know, Jeremy Corbell and Ben Hansen, the Christmas lights, the flares, the bokeh, the fake pyramids, you know, that's what she was preparing. Tim Burchett says, I was just informed, along with real Anna Polina, that I will not be chairing the UAP hearing. And that's, now there's rumors flying around, so let me be very clear. Someone has made an allegation today that they filed ethics complaints against Tim Burchett in relation to UFO scams, and that those ethics complaints were filed today. So people are speculating that maybe because of these ethics complaints that surround UFO scams, he was told he's not allowed to chair the hearing. I'm a little confused by what happened because people, again, this is a fluid situation. Some people are saying, oh, no, he's still chairing the hearing. Well, why would he tweet that he was told he's not allowed to chair the hearing? And what's up with these ethics complaints? And where can I get copies of them so we can see what the allegations concerning UFO scams are about? Did somebody file ethics complaints about UFO scams against Mr. Burchett today? And could that be why? Again, all I can do is speculate here and sort of, you know, I hate to just repeat rumors, but this is what I'm hearing, that ethics complaints were filed against him for UFO scams of some sort. And this is the guy who's running the UFO hearing, a guy who's just had ethics complaints filed against him for UFO scams, allegedly. So then we get a different person who says he is the person that's going to run the hearing or leading the hearing. So that got confusing because then this person came forward, a man named Robert Garcia. He said that he was going to be leading the hearing tomorrow. And boy, I found this, and I almost fell off my chair when I found out who apparently is leading the UFO hearing, because it's almost as if they want to create conspiracy theories here. It really feels that way to me. That's the sense that I get, that all of this is a clown show designed to distract us from God knows what and create conspiracy theories. Because here's the person, Robert Garcia, that's said that he was going to lead the hearing tomorrow. He said, as the ranking Democrat on this subcommittee tomorrow, it's important that we remain serious and transparent. We need to ground our discussion on impacts to national security. Yeah, and so he said he was leading the hearing, and then he clarified and said, to be clear, I'm not chairing the meeting. Republicans chair all the committee meetings in Congress when they are in the majority. and they decide who chairs. As a ranking member, my job is to lead the Democrats who are on the committee. So it's a little confusing because this person, Robert Garcia, he first tweeted that he would be leading the hearing tomorrow. But I guess, to clarify, he'll be leading the Democrats in the hearing tomorrow. I guess, right? This is all very confusing. But then it gets more confusing because, and this is where it gets good. So Robert Garcia apparently was a lobbyist for Lockheed Martin to the tune of $360,000. He was a lobbyist for Lockheed Martin. This is incredible because the allegations are that there's secret projects with alien technology being hidden from Congress. And what's one of those places that everybody thinks has the hidden alien technology? Of course, on the short list is Lockheed Martin. And now we have a guy named Robert Garcia, who was a lobbyist for Lockheed Martin, will be the Democratic chair or leader in this UFO hearing. We've got Mr. Burchett saying that he was told he will not be chairing the hearing tomorrow. So was it Republicans then from his side of the aisle that told him he wasn't allowed to chair this hearing? And what the hell is going on? We were told this whole time that him and this Miss Luna, new congressperson, would be chairing the UFO hearing. Now they were told they're not chairing the UFO hearing. Then we hear, like I said, that there's ethics complaints that were filed today against Burchett. Then we've got this guy who says, I'm leading the hearing. Oh, no, I'm just leading the Democratic side of the hearing. And he has a $360,000 connection to Lockheed Martin, who many people suspect are the people hiding the alien bodies and the UFOs and the intact craft and the non-human intelligence made design craft and the wreckage that they're back engineering. It's almost as if they are trying to create conspiracy theories here. Burchett gets bounced and we bring in this guy who up until now I hadn't heard that he would even be a part of the hearing. And he just so happens to have lobbied for Lockheed Martin. Wonderful situation. And one may ask themselves, why would the Congress even allow a guy who hangs out with UFO scammers that sell fake stories constantly to chair a hearing on that very topic? It doesn't make any sense, friends. It doesn't make any sense. It's like, let's do a Senate or congressional investigation into the mob, and you get a Harry Reid or somebody that hangs out with mob guys all the time running that hearing. It doesn't make sense. None of this makes any sense, and I am left at a loss. I just gotta laugh. I just have to laugh that now apparently there is a Lockheed Martin lobbyist who will be at the hearing, running the hearing. Great. Next, we are told. One second, let me share my screen here. Next, we're told from a CNN reporter who's friendly with some of the UFO scammers. Great. So now UFO scammers get to submit written statements to Congress. According to Noah Gray, in addition to the 3 witnesses at the hearing, Grush, Fravor, and Graves, I have learned that Jeremy Corbell, who sold fake stories about a convicted pimp fake scientist being a government whistleblower when he never worked for the government and he was never a scientist, and George Knapp, who sold that same fake Bob Lazar story for 30 years, are submitting written testimony to be entered into the congressional record as well. Investigative journalist George Knapp, who's been covering UFOs since 1987 and who introduced the late Senator Harry Reid to the phenomenon in 1996, tells me of the hearing, quote, I think this is a major event and it's long overdue, unquote. This is much different from Dave Fravor or Dave Grush or Ryan Graves sitting in front of the camera giving an interview. This is on the record under oath in front of Congress. This is telling the whole world what they know. It carries so much more weight. More George Knapp to me tonight. If this goes well, it encourages the House to schedule other hearings. What did I say? When we get a nothing burger, if we get a nothing burger tomorrow, they're all going to say, oh, this is just the first hearing. There's going to be many more hearings. He and Jeremy Corbell are going to be giving them some things that gives them some avenues to investigate. Again, implying that George Knapp and Jeremy Corbell know where the alien spacecraft are. Are they going to send them to Papoose Lake to find Bob Lazar's sport model, fake flying saucer that was copied from the Billy Meyer cult beam ship? Is that what they're going to do? Are they going to send them out to S4 that doesn't exist? This is absolutely ridiculous. And the fact that UFO scammers get to participate in a UFO hearing is absolutely ridiculous. It's absolutely ridiculous. I just can't believe it. Yeah, and I'm getting so many messages right now. So let me see. There's a few more things that I would like to share about tomorrow's hearings. We were also informed that there may be surprise witnesses. So I'm going to put up my fair use banner. Oh, let me recognize this from the Amazing Mystico. Sorry, I missed that. Glenn Gothman, WI06, is the chairman of the subcommittee. Burchett and Luna may attend the hearing under Rule 7D for the committee rules. Okay, so they can attend it, but I have to talk to somebody that understands politics because maybe they could shed some light. Like if somebody did have an ethics complaint filed against them on the day before a big hearing, would they still be allowed to chair the hearing or not? I don't know. I am the worst person when it comes to politics because I think all politicians are criminals. Our government, the federal government, are all criminals. I'm sorry if you didn't know already, in my opinion. And I don't pay attention. They're all criminals to me. They're just there to steal my money and, waste taxpayer money on nonsense, if you ask me. So I don't really know how there's a lot of rules and procedures with the Congress and the Senate. I wish I knew somebody that knew that arena and could sort of, try to unpack this for us. But thank you, Amazing Mystico, for your kindness, your generosity, and continued support of the show. Very, 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 very generous of you, longtime show supporter. All right, we're going to put our fair use banner up. This is a transformative work. We're educating the public. And I hate to share Chris Cuomo. Remember when he lied about spending all, being quarantined in a basement? And oh God, that guy is cringe. But apparently there may be some surprise witnesses. And this is news to me. Like I said, lots of new information dropping late today on the so-called evening of disclosure.
In a little while, so I'll be tuning in for that.
Good. What do you want people to know? Set this up for us.
Yeah, so basically, you remember you've interviewed Congressman Burchett a couple of times. I interviewed him about a week ago. He was very clear. I had to push him, but he was clear that there were going to be 6 witnesses. He said about half a dozen witnesses. Why are there only 3? Why only 3 now? Well, we
remember that we heard that some of the people that were supposed to testify didn't pass basic background checks about their claims. 3 could have been axed because their claims were proven false. Maybe they claimed certain work histories or educations that they didn't have. Who knows? But now there's an alternate explanation.
Have learned that it is possible that there could be surprise witnesses, last-minute additions. The issue is intimidation. There are witnesses associated with the government or government employees who are concerned about retaliation. They didn't want to name them initially, and it is possible that they could be added to the witness list at the last moment.
Yeah, and I don't think that that's going to happen. I mean, that's just my gut telling me that. I don't have a better answer for you. I think that they are going to have the witnesses that they've already announced and no more and no less. That's the sense that I get of this whole thing. I could be wrong. Maybe there will be some surprise witnesses, but what I said on Twitter, and I meant, if there's anybody other than these three witnesses that we know about, anybody else, they better have some evidence. But we've talked about this before, that what I feel is going to happen tomorrow is either total nothing burger, zero new evidence, zero new information at all, or we're going to get a kick the can with more stories without evidence. Those are the two big possibilities that I foresee. Now, I always want to be sure to understand that it may be entirely true. What if disclosure comes tomorrow? What if they have irrefutable proof and they drop it in this hearing? After I got done creaming my pants, I would be happy that that happened. And let me be very, very clear in saying that I have long thought that the government, and more specifically, private industry on behalf of the government, may be hiding the truth about some crashes that may be extraterrestrial in origin, or let's just say non-human, since that's a popular term now. But one of the things that I find interesting is that no one ever mentions the places that it truly may be, like the Battelle Institute. I've been doing an extensive amount of research on that organization. And if anybody has recovered alien spacecraft, it's Battelle. And isn't it interesting that none of these whistleblowers mentioned Battelle or anything else? So, you know, I'm still thinking we're getting a nothing burger, or we're getting a kick the can. Like, that's just the first hearing. And I guarantee you, if we get a nothing burger tomorrow, we're all going to hear words like, we're still moving the ball down the field, or this is just the first of many hearings to come. Great progress. You know? No. It wouldn't be great progress. It would be confirmation that these people are grifters, and that all of this is just theater for them to make more millions, because they haven't made millions of dollars enough. They need to make more millions, and they need something to show their followers. Like, look, we're engaging with the government. We're forcing the government to give us the truth about those aliens with our friend, Mr. Pritchett, who hangs out with us constantly while we sell completely and totally fake alien stories to the tune of millions of dollars. He's our buddy, and he's going to help us get disclosure. So I'm really not hopeful tomorrow, but you know, I still hold out the hope that maybe somebody actually has evidence. Maybe we misread this Grush. Maybe we misread the situation. People seem awfully clear that that there are alien spaceships and things like that in the possession of the United States government. I don't know what to think. You know, I most of me thinks this is that we're correct in our analysis that this is another big nothing burger, because all the same grifters that have, you know, did the Charlie Brown football thing to us 100 times are in on this one. We've got Gary Nolan is in on it. We've got Jeremy Corbell and George Knapp are in on it. We've got Ross Coulthard, who's been caught selling completely, totally fake stories multiple times before. So all the red flags and indicators are that this is going to be a big nothing burger. But I'm still hopeful. I want to leave that 1% hope that maybe we'll get some real actionable intelligence or information that's worthy of all of this hype. But that's another issue. You know, this thing has been overly hyped like crazy. And that is the hallmark of a UFO scam, to overhype and then inevitably underdeliver. We've seen it here 1,000 times before. So is all this hype really warranted? I don't think so. And remember that all these people selling these stories essentially are promising us proof of non-human intelligence bodies, proof of intact spacecraft, if you will. Call them spacecraft, if you will. That's what they are saying they have evidence of. If we don't get evidence of that tomorrow, that's going to be a big problem. I think that's going to be an incredibly big problem for the grifters, because even true believers are going to wake up and say, you promised us proof and you got nothing. When is the time to drop the evidence? When is the time to drop the proof? It's tomorrow at an open congressional hearing. That's the time to drop the evidence. That's the time to drop the proof. But are we going to get the evidence of claims that already have been made? Or are we going to get another kick the can? Oh, no, and excuses. Also, be prepared tomorrow to hear excuses for why Dave Grush couldn't name names, name the programs, give the locations where these programs are being carried out, who's in charge of the programs. Where are the documents? If you are back engineering an alien spacecraft, there is a mountain of paperwork. Now, granted, it might be digital in form, but it's on somebody's servers. There has to be records being kept. If you're trying to back engineer alien spacecraft, there's records that you have to make of everything you do. A mountain of paperwork would be generated. We can't see any paperwork from all these so-called secret recovery and back engineering programs that have in their possession alien or non-human, interdimensional, whatever you want to call them, spacecraft. We can't see the paperwork. Why? None of this is making any sense. But tomorrow, if we don't get 100% verification and proof and evidence of Grush's claims, then Grush is just another grifter. That's what I'm saying, and, go ahead, attack me for saying it. If we don't get evidence and proof of Grush's claims tomorrow, none of this kick the can, no excuses for why he couldn't divulge things, NDAs, security clearances, any of that stuff. You've got whistleblower protection. You could say anything you want tomorrow, Grush. Is he going to name names and provide evidence, documents, pictures? We're told he has documents and pictures, or he was shown documents and pictures. Why aren't we going to? Are we going to see those tomorrow? Or are we going to get more kick the can, more excuses for why there's no evidence and just stories? Because all we've had for years, decades now, is stories with no evidence. To me, the stories that don't have evidence have no value, which would mean Grush has no value. And while we're on this subject, let's also discuss the fact that a bunch of true believers in all of this stuff have wasted millions and millions and millions of taxpayer dollars now. 20 million on OSAP to study werewolves at Skinwalker Ranch, awarded to a man who owned the ranch. And we've heard what happened with that. People would get drunk and send him stories of aliens, right? Great. How many millions of dollars have been wasted on all these task force, UAPTF, and AOMISG or whatever? How much taxpayer money has been wasted chasing shadows, looking for alien spacecraft and alien bodies and all this other stuff? I was thinking today that, let's say, for example, a bunch of Christians started to demand that Congress prove Jesus is real. You know what I mean? Or let's get even more ridiculous. What if all of us tomorrow just started demanding that the Senate and the Congress investigate and prove that the Easter Bunny is real? Would everybody else just be okay with wasting tens of millions of government taxpayer money proving that the Easter Bunny is real? But somehow we're all supposed to be okay with a bunch of UFO profiteering whores who have made millions of dollars manipulating our own government into helping them sell lies and wasting tens of millions of dollars in taxpayer money. But let me be clear. If they find the alien spacecraft, it wouldn't be a waste, I guess. But you got to have some proof. You got to come with some evidence, or stop, or just shut the hell up already. It's the time for stories is gone. It's long past, right? Tomorrow is when these people should drop their evidence. Now, we know for a fact that Fravor and Graves have no evidence. They have stories. And you know, not to take anything away from their own personal experience or anything like that, but all they have is story and no evidence. Who cares? And we've heard these two stories 1,000 times. Both of them have made careers out of UFOs for 10 years now, right? Or however many years. 7 years. So these guys are making a great deal of money. They have for-profit interests, and now they have a non-profit organization they're seeking funding for that they're all involved with, including Gary Nolan and Avi Loeb and all these other people, David Fravor and Christopher Mellon, who was in on the TTSA techno scam. At some point, everybody needs to wake up and realize it's all these same people that have been telling these same stories forever. Where is the evidence? Where is the proof? If we don't get it tomorrow, we're never going to get it. They're just going to do the carrot on the stick for another 10 years while they fill their pockets with every UFO dollar they can. That's my take on this. So I was also trying to find it. Apparently, Christopher Mellon is saying that people told him that they saw alien spacecraft. But he said, Christopher Mellon said some time ago that he see no evidence, that there is no evidence of non-human spacecraft in the possession of the United States government. And he, you know, I mean, he would know, he worked there, right? Also, John Greenwald was on News Nation, and I want to put my fair use banner up. We're gonna play that as well, because he's kind of the voice of reason. I always call him the Walter Cronkite of UFOs. He's so measured and he's so diplomatic and fair to everyone. I don't know why he gets so much crap. I understand why people come after me, because I'm a little, let's just say I'm a little rough around the edges, right? This guy is very kind and fair to everyone, in my opinion. So this is fair use. This is transformative work. We're educating the public.
My next guest is one of them. John Greenwald submitted his first Freedom of Information Act request on UFOs when he was 15 years old. Yeah. 27 years later, he runs
and I remember when I was a teenager, I was one of the first people on his website. I guarantee you that, because I was one of the first people I knew that had, wow, the World Wide Web. I was one of the first people I knew on the World Wide Web, and he put his website up right when the World Wide Web started, essentially.
Online database called the Black Vault, with more than 3 million declassified government documents. A short time ago, I got his thoughts on tomorrow's historic hearing.
Yeah, and I was anxious to hear this, because John is usually very measured, and you know, but I think he's thinking nothing burger too, but he says it a little nicer than me, I suppose.
John, you say it's great that David Grush will be testifying under oath about what he was told, but that's not enough, you say. His information is secondhand. He was told and he read about non-human craft. He didn't actually see it.
Yeah, that's right. I mean, I would like to see the people that told him all of what he has come forward with. Those, I think, are...
Yeah, and by the way, Tim Burchett had subpoena power. Burchett could have subpoenaed the people that told Grush that they saw alien spacecraft. Why didn't he? You have to respond to a congressional subpoena. You have to go and testify, whether you like it or not. So regardless of classification nonsense or privacy issues or NDAs, Burchett could have subpoenaed the people that Grush claims told him this information. Why did he not subpoena those people to testify directly?
Are the people that should be in the hot seat. Now, I am encouraged that he's going to be under oath, and I'm excited to see him actually bring this story to Congress and say what we've already heard. But that's the problem. We've heard it at this point. I hope there's new information, but we need to get to the root of where he got everything. That way we can take the next step to actually verifying it.
Who else do you think needs to be under oath? And
John made a great point about a person that could clear a lot of this up right away. who, by the way, the people running the hearing also could have subpoenaed and asked to testify, and they chose not to. So more and more, this is looking like a dog and pony show, a clown show perpetrated by Burchett to help his UFO grifter buddies have material for the UFO idiots that buy their garbage. If they really wanted to get to the evidence, they would subpoena the people that told Grush this stuff. If they really wanted to get to the evidence and the truth, they would subpoena this other person that John mentions.
Answering these questions.
I would love to see some agency heads. I think the Inspector General of the Department of Defense would be somebody who I'd love to see at the top of the list. I think that they've been looking into the DoD's handling of.
And I love how News Nation constantly plays Corbell and George Knapp's fake UFO videos and use their fake UFO pictures. This is the Batman balloon right here being shown. Yeah, how serious. This is what a clown show it is. Let's talk about this super secret UFO hearing happening tomorrow because somebody said that the government may have non-human craft. And what are they playing in the background? They're showing a Batman balloon, a literal goddamn Batman balloon. And that came from George Knapp.
Of the UAP issue now for a couple of years with an
And this is another of Jeremy Corbell's garbage videos.
Evaluation that they started. They also looked at a complaint that was submitted to them. There's a lot that they, from the Department of Defense side, can bring to the table. But I think that Congress needs to turn up the heat a little bit. I think that
I agree with John on that issue. And what they need to do also is they need to call these grifters to testify under oath. Why don't we get George Knapp and Jeremy Corbell and Bob Lazar, right? This is about the government back engineering alien spacecraft, right? Why aren't they testifying under oath? Why didn't Burchett subpoena Bob Lazar? Could it be because even Burchett knows that story is fake as hell? And when are some of these grifters going to have to answer for their grifting?
We have gone beyond the witness testimony. That's solid at this point. There's a foundation that they have confirmed. The government has confirmed that military pilots are experiencing these phenomena while in their training exercises, while flying their military aircraft. There are videos, photographs, and firsthand testimony. That's solid.
Yeah, and that is, you know, I don't want to take anything away from Graves or from Fravor, but, you know, these are stories that we heard 1,000 times already. Really? Like, that's what we're going to do? We're going to re-review the same Tic Tac story and the same story from Graves where he saw something on his radar but didn't see it with his own eyes?
Those are in congressional reports from 2021 on. So I don't want to take away from the witnesses that are there. Ryan Graves and David Fravor are crucial voices to bringing this to the public. But I think we need to turn up the heat a little bit. I think Congress needs to find some agency heads to put in the chair. And I'd love to see the same heat that I've seen in other hearings outside of the UFO topic in this one and really get some answers.
Yeah, I agree with John. They need the ICIG there. Why wasn't he subpoenaed? Right? And now we've got Ross Coulthart lying to everybody and saying that the Inspector General of the intelligence community said that David Grush's alien claims were urgent and credible. No, he never said that. He said his complaint was credible and would be taken seriously, as all complaints to the Inspector General are. He never said that Grush's alien claims were urgent and credible.
Yeah, you've been filing Freedom of Information requests or FOIAs for military documents on UFOs for decades, and you post them on your Black Vault website. You say the military is still today working really hard to keep important information from the American public.
Yeah, they absolutely are.
Absolutely. And it's only gotten worse in the past 5.5 years. Since
it's gotten worse now.
Worse. Yeah. Contrary to popular belief, just because we're hearing about UAP and UFOs more, to be honest with you, from the legal standpoint, from fighting under the Freedom of Information Act, it is worse.
It is much, much worse. And it could be much, much worse because people like Jeremy Corbell and others have been, in my opinion, unfairly profiting from taxpayer-funded material like videos and images. And so the government has become increasingly more tight about letting that stuff out. And we want to thank Kimball Mortensen for kind and generous $4.99 super chat. Says we need Representative Michael Gallagher to chair these hearings. That guy laid down the law in the first UAP hearing. Yeah, I think he did a good job. Yeah, and thank you for your kindness, your generosity, and your support of the show. It is much, much appreciated. I'm trying to catch up here in the live chat. I didn't realize I was so far behind. I'm all caught up now. Yeah, let's continue with this. And I've got a few more things to share with you.
I'll nutshell it for you. In the past 26, 27 years, I have filed over 10,000 FOIA requests to pretty much every federal agency you can imagine on pretty much
10,000 requests. I got to love John from the Black Vault for doing that. Do you know how much work it is to file 10,000 FOIA requests? I mean, I'm sure he's got it automated somewhat and he can copy and paste certain things, but 10,000 requests. God bless John from the Black Vault.
Any government secret that you can think of, and UFOs just being one of them. And out of all of them, UFOs single-handedly are the toughest ones to research. They have the most pushback. They have the most provable pieces of evidence of a cover-up, but it's a cover-up nonetheless, and it's one that's easily proven. You can see with their own documentation.
Yeah, you can see with the redactions that they make. Stanton Friedman once famously held up documents he received through Freedom of Information Act requests that were all blacked out. And he would hold up these blacked out documents and says, people say there's no cover-up. Here it is right here. They're covering up the text of this document. Of course, John from the Black Vault knows as well that the redactions that they do prove a cover-up by itself.
And it's fascinating for me because over the years, what I've done is
more fake UFO videos from Jeremy Corbell.
Focused on what is
There's
the
a
government
Batman
telling
balloon.
us? What are they
more
putting out
fake
in press
videos from
statements and
Jeremy
so on and so
Corbell.
forth, and juxtapose that with the actual evidence, the stuff that you can legally get, not leaked material, not anything that somebody gave me in a dark garage somewhere, but rather the U.S. government itself through the Freedom of Information Act. They will give you these pieces of evidence, and sometimes they're not redacted, and they tell amazing stories.
I agree with John. Sometimes I think they kind of slip up and they let some things out that they later regret. But a lot of times you get an awful lot of redactions, so much so that it's illegible and unreadable.
Other times they're heavily redacted, and that in itself tells an amazing story.
Yeah.
So
in one recent request that you made, the Navy refused to release every single video it had relating to UFOs. Every single one. Why is there still so much secrecy around this?
Your guess is as good as mine. But, just this week, the Department of Defense released yet another piece of footage from an MQ-9 Reaper drone of the Russian jet that was dropping flares on top of it, ended up damaging it. This was not the first occurrence. They openly released this video, yet when it comes to UAP,
yeah, they did.
They claim that MQ-9 Reaper drone footage is entirely classified because of the platform itself and the classified nature of the sensors that saw the UAP or took the video footage or whatever.
Right.
Yeah, so the platform itself is classified, so we can't release any of the footage of the UFOs from onboard systems. It's kind of ridiculous.
So basically,
it's a silly excuse.
What they're saying is we can't give you the UFO/UAP footage because it's used. It was recorded on classified technology, and yet they're releasing that same footage from the classified technology of other sorts of incidents.
Yeah, that's exactly right. And they're doing it within days.
Even the two congressmen leading this hearing called a news conference to say they had been stonewalled. They told News Nation that they were not getting cooperation from the top general at Elgin Air Force Base. Does it surprise you that even lawmakers are being stymied?
I'm not.
To be honest with you, not really. The secrecy, as I said, has been deepening. And on top of that, Congress needs to turn up the heat. And that's why I want to push that point that we're beyond the witnesses at this point. The government is going to push back as hard as they can, whether it be members of Congress or annoying FOIA requesters like myself.
Yeah, I agree. There's going to be an incredible amount of pushback on this, but it seems so far like a dog and pony show run by Burchett to help his UFO grifter buddies so far.
That are pushing through legal means, the secrecy is going to be the same regardless of who is asking. Now, of course, there's going to be members of Congress that are cleared to hear certain things, but they're not going to turn around and tell us either. So things have to change when it comes to the root level of this secrecy, or the public's going to be left in the dark for another 50, 75, 100 years.
Yeah, that
All
would
right,
be
John
embarrassingly
Greenwald from the
bad,
Black
right?
Vault website, where you can see a lot of the videos he has managed to get, as well as documents. Thanks so much, John, for being with us tonight.
You know, I think John did a good job, and I'm glad that News Nation is at least including, you know, some more, let's just call them reputable voices that actually know something about the whole history and things like that. I think John does a good job. You should check out his website, theblackvault.com, or check him out on YouTube, The Black Vault. Just put The Black Vault in the YouTube search bar. You'll find him. John's out there really trying to get the truth, and I appreciate him for doing that. I don't have the patience for all those FOIA requests. The times that I've had to do them, I found them to be a real nightmare. We did a bunch of similar to FOIA. We did a bunch of right to know requests for a murder investigation, for a murder case, and that was a nightmare. Just back and forth with the government that basically stonewalled me and said, we're not sharing anything. You know, ongoing investigation or whatever the case may be. I just am at a loss for how he has the patience to file 10,000 of those, because I had to file like 10, and I almost didn't get through 10 of them. So imagine Mr. Greenwald, you know, filing 10,000 of them in the past bunch of years. That's an awful lot of paperwork. Maybe that's it. I'm really not good at paperwork, right? And I did find something else that I was trying to share, which is we've got a video from Mick West as well. Well, this is a good point that Mick West makes, so we're going to share this one as well about the Starlink satellites and the misidentification of Starlink satellites. This is more proof that some of this stuff is ordinary, prosaic stuff that people are mistaking, and, you know, it's not aliens, it's a satellite.
Well, Ryan Graves had a more detailed statement, and he raised some interesting issues, one of which was that a lot of commercial pilots had been seeing what they describe as UFOs high up in space. But that is something that, you know, I've been looking at on my website Metabunk with my team on Metabunk, and we've determined that the vast majority of those are actually Starlink satellites, despite what Ryan Graves is saying about it.
Interesting. So Mick West there throwing some shade. Americans for Safe Aerospace. He runs a UFO organization, but he doesn't know what a Starlink satellite is. How do you run an aerospace organization and you can't properly identify a satellite and you think it's an alien spaceship? It kind of shows you that there's a great deal of confirmation bias. They have a profit-driven motive to see aliens everywhere and to want more funding, You know, I think that it is kind of ridiculous that they continue to waste taxpayer money on nonsense. And there's another yeah, and here's another something from Mick West. There's a 240-page report that News Nation got leaked, which I have a problem with. Why didn't I get a leak of that? I'm a member of the media. The company that is profiting the most from all this UFO hype and hysteria, they get a copy of this?
Interesting. I brought this out here. We also obtained like this 240-page briefing document. This is actually secret. We got our hands on it. This is what has been sent to members of Congress to go over before the hearings tomorrow. And it's basically a 75-year look back. I went through all of this last night. It's really crazy. 75-year look back at all the news articles, everything that has ever come out about UFOs in this country and whether or not the information is credible or not so credible. So this is what Congress has been going over, getting ready for this briefing tomorrow.
And by the way, I don't trust the government to determine what UFO stories are credible and what are not. You have to get somebody that really knows the history and the characters involved and the people selling the stories to make those judgment calls, not some member of the government that knows nothing about this subculture that knows nothing about the history of grifting and scamming in this culture.
Interesting.
Okay, that was it. I'm sorry. So I had one more that now I can't seem to find. Oh yeah, Christopher Mellon. We're gonna go through this because Christopher Mellon was in on the TTSA techno scam, and he's never acknowledged what happened to all the money or why investors have never gotten their money back who invested in the TTSA techno scam. Apparently, the Securities and Exchange Commission was investigating him, Lou Elizondo, and everyone else involved with TTSA, allegedly for some kind of securities and exchange fraud. But he's going to be an expert, right, on these matters. I don't think so, but it is what it is. And again, I hate that I have to play Chris Cuomo. What a bozo that dude is.
So, what are we going to get this Wednesday? How should we set our expectations? We have an exclusive interview with the man who has been really the spark plug, instrumental behind the scenes to bring these witnesses and video evidence forward. Former deputy.
Yeah, he's the guy who essentially bent the rules to get those 3 videos that he, Lou Elizondo, Tom DeLonge, Hal Puthoff, and everyone else profited from for years, and were able to collect $3 million based on those taxpayer-funded videos that him and Lou Elizondo somehow got out of the Pentagon when they were not cleared for public release.
Deputy Assistant Secretary of Defense for Intelligence, Christopher Mellon. It's good to see you. Thank you for joining us.
Pleasure to be here. Thank you.
Yeah, and apparently Christopher Mellon has a big cat, because throughout this interview, you might hear a cat squealing. And then it made me wonder, like, is somebody like torturing a cat in a room next to him? Like, this is bizarre. I don't know if you heard that. There's like a cat.
See you. Thank you for joining us.
Pleasure to be here. Thank you.
And feel free.
I don't think the cat's on Chris Cuomo's end, so that's a little bizarro. But okay, we're in conspiracy land. Strange things happen.
As always, to push back on whatever doesn't go with your reckoning. And I'll start with a point of potential cynicism, or at least skepticism. I think not demanding that NASA be there, not demanding that more big shots from these different departments and programs be there or be held to account for why they won't come, should have been a focus. And we're setting.
Yeah, you think department heads should be there, right? You think that the witnesses that apparently told Dave Grush all these alien stories, why aren't they there? This whole thing, it's like incompetence on display. The people running this thing are idiots. If you really want to get to the truth of something, then you subpoena everyone. Bring them all in. Make them testify under oath. Get to the truth. Instead, we get Tim Burchett bringing 2 of his buddies from the UFO Grift Squad and Dave Grush, who has been hanging out with other members of the Grift Squad. You know, Lou Elizondo, Jeremy Corbell, George Knapp, Travis Taylor, and the Skinwalker gang, right? That's who we're going to have testify.
Setting ourselves up for disappointment with these hearings. What's your take?
I think there's time to get to that. This is a process.
Yeah, we're going to hear language like this. Oh, this is a process. When this is a nothing burger, we're going to hear, well, this is a process. This is just a first hearing. I guarantee that's the language that we're going to be hearing tomorrow.
The objective here, I think, and the opportunity is for the American people to come to better understand why it is that so many in Congress actually take seriously the idea that
because they've been manipulated by professional intelligence people. That's why they're taking it seriously.
And the associated rumor.
Let's be clear. These intelligence people have not only been manipulating the UFO community and filling their pockets with UFO money, they've been manipulating members of Congress and Senate. They're hanging out with congressmen and senators like Burchett, and filling their head with all kinds of promises about proof of aliens and alien technology and off-world vehicles. So, of course, maybe some of them will take it seriously.
Allegation that we may have in our possession off-world technology recovered from someone else's space program.
Off-world technology recovered from someone else's space program. Well, that could be adversarial technology. Doesn't mean it's alien. That could be Chinese technology. Doesn't mean it's alien. That could be Russian technology. You notice the wording here is so very careful. He didn't say alien spacecraft from another star system. He said off-world vehicles from, that aren't ours. Great.
And those are things that are hard for people to get their minds around. And I think this hearing is an opportunity for the public to hear from naval aviators.
Oh, here we go with the Batman balloons again. And by the way, I'm pretty sure, but I'm going to try to confirm this with News Nation. Every time that they play or show material from George Knapp and Jeremy Corbell, they get a royalty payment. And this is taxpayer funded. And George Knapp and Jeremy Corbell are making money from that in royalties. They're copywriting taxpayer funded videos, taxpayer funded images.
Aviators who are,
I don't know how that's
credible,
legal.
responsible people to understand what they're experiencing, what they're encountering in the field. And this is happening on a widespread basis. There are hundreds and hundreds of these incidents going on. Dave Grush will also then separately address the recovery issue.
First of all right, let's deal with Grush. Do you think he can name names and say more than he has said publicly before? Do you think?
Here comes the excuses. Now we're going to get excuses from the UFO Griff Squad, right? He could. There's whistleblower protection, and he's under oath in Congress. He could name names. He could say exactly who told him about all this stuff. But there's a reason that he's not going to say who told him. And I think that reason is, and I freely admit I'm speculating, I think the reason that Grush isn't going to name names is because the names are going to be very familiar to us. Names like Gary Nolan, Lou Elizondo, Christopher Mellon told me this. And if that's the case, then these men, these UFO true-believing idiots, just manipulated a career military and intelligence man into destroying his career over stories that they cannot verify are true with actual evidence. And that shows you what kind of people these are. If it turns out that this man Grush was manipulated by the Griff Squad, by Corbell, by Gary Nolan, by Lou Elizondo, by Eric Davis and Hal Puthoff and Christopher Mellon, many of which were in on the TTSA techno scam, it shows you what kind of people they are if they're willing to let that guy destroy his career over stories.
Any of these guys who are testifying can say more than they already have. I mean, that would kind of be the starting line of these hearings being progress.
Now we
I
get
expect
excuses.
Dave will provide some new information that we have not heard before.
Oh, he's going to provide new information. Yes, they've all been coaching him for weeks now. Don't talk about that Italian UFO crash that you talked about in your original interview, because it turns out that was a hoax. That was completely and totally fake, likely fed to him by Lou Elizondo.
And Dave has provided specific leads and information and names to the intelligence community inspector general.
Great. Why don't we call the intelligence community inspector general then? Why are we not subpoenaing him and making him answer questions about all this stuff so that we could get to see if there's real evidence or not? Here come more excuses, right?
So Congress
we can't do
needs to
that
get that in.
because then the whole facade of this whole disclosure fake movement will come crashing down for the house of cards that it is.
Information from the inspector general. There are some limits to what he can say by law in open
Here's the
session
excuses.
in terms of identifying other personnel in the intelligence community. He's under a lot of restrictions and oaths, and the laws are very severe. The penalties are very severe if you cross those red lines.
Yeah, and who did he learn this from? Mr. NDA Lou Elizondo, who every time he got in a hard question would just cite non-disclosure agreements or classifications so that he wouldn't have to answer hard questions. If you're going to stand up in front of pardon me, if you're going to stand up in front of the American people and claim that there's a cosmic Watergate, a vast cover-up of alien crash retrieved vehicles, you damn well better have evidence, and you better name names, and you better tell all you know. But instead, we get this very careful dance, proving to me, in my opinion, that this is all a grift.
So he has to be careful, but he's
I hope it
very
isn't.
forward-leaning. I think he will provide new information the public has not heard before.
He's going to provide new information the public has not heard before. That could mean anything. And remember that all these guys are buddies with Grush. Elizondo, Christopher Mellon, Gary Nolan, Eric Davis, George Knapp, Jeremy Corbell, Travis Taylor. They're all buddies with Grush. They've all been hanging out with him for years at UFO conventions and more, feeding him stories.
And I think Ryan and Dave Fravor, Commander Fravor, will also help people better understand and appreciate the degree to which this is going on. And they're really...
Yeah, and they'll be able to grandstand and get more funding for their organization. These two, Fravor and Graves, are trying to fundraise for their UFO organization. And Mr. Dave Grush has decided that he wants to be a thought leader in this space. So I foresee that even if Dave Grush never provides a single shred of proof or evidence, he's going to be working UFO conventions for the next 10 years, this guy. Guarantee it. I guarantee he'll be working UFO conventions soon.
Fundamentally stunning nature of the technology and capability of these vehicles.
So what do you believe that we're dealing with? That they know about equipment and technology from other countries that they have kept secret? Or do you believe that there is any chance that the American government has knowledge of things they believe are not from Earth and they've kept it from the American people?
I've been told that that is the case by several Defense Department officials.
So here's Christopher Mellon saying he's been told that we have alien spacecraft by Defense Department officials. But who told him that? You know, did Eric Davis tell him that? Did Lou Elizondo tell him that? His other UFO wackadoo buddies? Or are these actually credible claims being made by actual credible people who aren't UFO people? That's the problem here, is that there are Defense Department officials who are UFO wackadoos like Eric Davis and Hal Puthoff and Lou Elizondo and others. So it's just amazing, right? And he can't name those names either, right? Oh, somebody told me we got the alien spaceships, but I can't tell you who it is. We're right back to children on a playground and a 5-year-old telling the other 5-year-olds that he's got a laser gun, but it's a secret and he can't show it to you. That's where we're at with all of this.
I've been
that
told
it's not from this Earth, or they don't know from where it's from on this Earth.
I've been told that we have recovered technology that did not originate on this Earth by officials in the Department of Defense and by former intelligence officials.
Former intelligence officials like Lou Elizondo and Dave Grush. It's just one big circle jerk.
I've referred some of those officials to the office that's undertaking this investigation. Dave is another one of those individuals. He's decided to go public with his information. So there are credible people.
And you notice there's always this game with these UFO grifters that they're in on all the secrets, right? But they can't tell you. Well, I'm in on all these secret things. I saw that 23-minute crystal clear 4K HD video of a UFO, and you could see even the makeup of the skin of the craft. But I can't show you that video, and I can't provide evidence, but trust me, bro, I'm in on all the UFO alien secrets, and I know all the people that know all about it. It's childish, and it's stupid. And again, we're at 5-year-olds on a playground telling other 5-year-olds that they got a laser gun.
People, and we have a direct conflict here between what Dr. Kirkpatrick is saying and what these other folks are saying, and Congress is in the middle, and they got to sort it out.
But here's the problem, okay? Now I think you're going to be with me. It is mind-blowing that, not that they would know something like that, but not say anything. I think that would be so reprehensible. It would be such gross malfeasance. I don't care what the law allows in terms of discretion or privacy. To not.
Yeah, I agree. If in the course of your government job you find out that they have non-human alien spacecraft in the possession of the United States government and you don't say it, I think that's unforgivable. If that's true, it would change human history. And no man has a right to keep that secret. I don't care about NDAs. I don't care about classifications. I don't even care about national security at that point, or any other excuse to not disclose that information.
Not tell people like that could be such a force for positive change and perspective would be unforgivable. These guys are never going to tell on themselves.
Yeah, I can't believe that I have to actually agree with Chris Cuomo.
You can't expect anybody to come forward from these agencies unless you're going to get like the Secretary of Defense and be like, listen, brother, you know, and now you're going to tell us, or you're not going to be the Secretary of Defense anymore. Doesn't this have to be done by Congress, or God forbid, doesn't this have to be done by some external body, not themselves? Isn't it an obvious determination that they're going to come up saying, yeah, you don't need to know?
Chris. Absolutely agree. This is one of the problems. So this office that is leading the investigation was originally created to organize the collection of information about UAPs and orchestrate a coherent, rational inquiry on the part of the government, not this issue about recovered technology.
Wouldn't that be part of their responsibility if there is proof of that, to find the proof? And of course, Dr. Kirkpatrick has said that nothing was withheld from him. First of all, he said nothing was withheld from him. So this, it's a secret program, so they didn't tell him about it, doesn't hold any water. And he said that he had seen no actual or verifiable evidence of alien spacecraft, alien bodies, or anything like that. And he also spoke to some 30 so-called witnesses or whistleblowers. So what does that mean? This is very important, because what it means is that 30 people apparently have come to Dr. Kirkpatrick or Arrow or, whatever, and testified to him that the government is in possession of alien spacecraft, and here's why. But he has found no evidence after talking to 30 or more people. What does that tell you about the veracity of these claims being made? You can go through 30 witnesses that are making these claims, but you still don't have any evidence? That none of this makes any sense. It's mind-boggling. It's absolutely mind-boggling.
They added that on later, and now there's a problem because there's an inherent conflict of interest. This is like asking the Reagan administration to investigate the Iran-Contra affair. I think that office can serve a very important purpose in terms of investigating.
Yeah, and this, by the way, is all excuses for why Dr. Kirkpatrick found no evidence. They're excusing away a man who has spent years investigating these claims and found no evidence.
Agencies to share information, collating it, developing collection strategies. When you're talking about investigating this allegation of recovered materials, that's a different matter. And I think Congress has to drive that investigation itself.
I mean, I just think it would be
that's a good point.
Unforgivable.
I think you're right.
Point of discretion for them to not let the American people know something as profound in its implication.
Yeah, that's exactly right. Amazing Mystico.
And I'll tell you, it's not that far removed from the idea of, we found a lot of things in technology that that people have, countries have, that is really staggering. And we just haven't told you because we're reverse engineering it and using it for our own purposes. The us and them that we're always seeding in this country.
Yeah, and by the way, I truly believe that some of these stories may be just simply misidentified craft that people saw and thought, it's got to be alien. What if it's Chinese? What if it's Iranian? What if it's Russian? And they've made some technological leaps that we were not aware of. The amazing Mystico correctly pointing out, leading question alert. Don't we need an outside organization heavily funded by the government to investigate this and grift? Yeah, that's what this is all about. just like these people essentially stole $22 million from the United States government to investigate Skinwalker Ranch, now they want to steal $100 million to investigate UFOs. That's my take on some of this, right? And what a conflict of interest Ryan Graves has. He runs a UFO organization, and he's going to be the primary witness at a UFO hearing, and he's going to talk about the threat of UFOs, and we need funding. It's a grift.
Culturally, that's in us and them. If you have people who are making those determinations and the American people aren't aware, I think it's a problem. But I know this going into it. Thank you for agitating. I know that you get a ton of shite for what you want to do, and people come after.
Yeah, well, maybe he should be getting a ton of that, because he was part of an organization that essentially stole $3 million from investors and never delivered anything they promised. Chris Cuomo's an idiot. He was part of an organization that promised everybody a spaceship, collected investor money, and never delivered anything.
After you for being a distraction or for being un-American. I think you're the opposite of both of those things. You're pushing for transparency, and you're doing it for the right reasons. I just hope Congress can pick up the ball and carry it effectively.
Congress can do more and better on this. They've done a great job. It's amazing to some degree how far
they've done a great job. What Congress is he watching?
Come in just a few years.
Right.
Oh, that's right. That guy's got mega millions, so he doesn't care how the economy's in the crapper, and yeah, whatever.
But they need to take names. I think they need to call some people in and put them under oath. I think they need to get information from the Inspector General. And
yeah, well, why aren't they doing all of that? Is it because all of these stories will come crashing down like the house of cards they are if they actually put forth an aggressive effort to investigate these claims being made?
If they follow down that path, they will get to the bottom of this. But it is an unprecedented challenge, and we have a very complex legal oversight architecture in terms of security stuff. It's conceivable, for example, that Congress has already been lawfully informed, but Representative Burchett and others don't know, because legally the administration can notify a very small number of people and say it's checked the box.
Yeah, so essentially Christopher Mellon is claiming that maybe some members of Congress or the Senate have already been informed that we have alien spacecraft, but Burchett just wasn't on the list to be informed. Okay, whatever. You know, more science fiction fantasies. None of this makes sense.
So there's also a problem with Department of Energy black programs. They get no oversight from Congress, in essence. So there's a lot of work
there are
to
a
be
lot
done.
of there really is. And look, no matter what the reality is about what they have or don't have, we've got to do better in reshaping the way our institutions work to be more transparent with the people who give them the power in the first place. And that's what I think you're doing at a minimum. So Chris Mellon, thank you. Let's see where we go Wednesday, and more importantly, where we go after. I'll be back in touch.
My pleasure. Thank you.
Yeah, great. Let's talk to a guy that was part of a UFO scam to inform us about UFOs. Great. Wonderful. Alien Scientist is here and says, I have been attacked for being an actual skeptic of this phenomenon, for asking real questions related to technical capabilities of U.S. military and special access programs. Me as well, Jeremy. I know that situation well. We just began the show talking about the threats, intimidation, harassment, and doxing that I suffered simply for questioning one Lou Elizondo's motives and narratives. But that's where we find ourselves. So they changed the acronym to fit their new agenda from UAO to UFO to UAP, tweaked UAP again, and now it's NHI, and AI is the new perspective. Quite possibly could be. And Amy DeChico says, we're being set up. Yeah. Paul Shields says, Alien Scientists, you're doing good work, which I agree with, and keep it up, which I also agree with it. With Space Kitty says, that's why you rock, Jeremy. Yeah. So we want to thank each and every one of you for joining us. I am going to have to wrap things up. Time flies when I'm doing this, and I never have a sense. I thought I was an hour and a half in here. No, we're 2.5 hours in. no place that I would rather be than right here with you, but I have some other commitments. I'm going to be doing an interview at midnight Eastern Standard Time, but I believe it's a recorded interview, so I can't give you guys the link. There will be a link available in the next couple of days. I think it's going to be posted. This show host pre-records their interviews, so I got to bounce on out of here and go do that interview. But I will be back tomorrow sometime. I haven't decided. There's so many people that are live streaming the actual hearing, but quite honestly, I think that that's going to be not something that I would want to do. Because if I live stream the hearing, I'm not going to get to make notes. I'm not going to get to listen intently. I have to stop it and comment and all these things. So, but maybe we will do that. I have to decide that later tonight. So I may be back tomorrow morning. The hearing is at 10 a.m. Eastern time, I'm told. I may be back, or I may just do our usual showtime tomorrow night at 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, and we'll discuss what is said or what happens at the hearing. I have a feeling there's going to be an awful lot of disappointed people and a lot of backpedaling. Some of these people, I think, are going to break their back from the amount of backpedaling they're going to be doing tomorrow. Mr. Ian reminding everybody to smash that like button like it's a very naughty grifter. Yeah, absolutely. Well, we thank each and every one of you for joining us. We also thank our kind and generous benefactors, all you Patreon supporters. By the way, I'll be posting a new video of the new set that we're building here. We want to thank all of you Patreon supporters, you YouTube channel members, you super chatters, you kind and generous benefactors, and you Patreon supporters. I'm sorry, you PayPal pledgers, you Twitch subscribers, all of you. Thank you so much for your kindness, generosity, and support of the show. It is much, much appreciated. We have done our due diligence, and tomorrow is another day, friends. I, for one, can't wait to hear this hearing. Now, I have to say that I am just going to literally zone out during Fravor and Graves, because who cares? What are they going to say? They're going to say the same crap they've been saying for years, as they've made careers out of telling the same one story over and over and over again. I think it's a mistake even having them at this hearing. It's a waste of taxpayer money. It's a waste of people's time to let them, tell the same story again. But I'm certainly looking forward to seeing if Grush actually delivers any evidence, or is this going to be more excuses for why he can't? He's under oath tomorrow. There's whistleblower protection. I don't want to hear all those excuses, NDAs, classifications, top secret, all that nonsense. No, drop the evidence or shut the hell up. That's where I'm at, and that's where all of us should be at. Because this guy Grush is heavily connected to all the same liars and scammers that have been grifting off the UFO circuit for years, in some cases decades. So if this guy doesn't deliver big tomorrow, we'll know it's all a grift. And like I said, look for the language tomorrow. Oh, we're still moving the ball down the field. Oh, this is a process. Oh, this is just the first of many congressional hearings, and we had a good start today, and we'll get more at the next hearing. Yeah, chase that carrot, dummy, which is the same thing these people have been making everybody do, chasing that carrot for years now. They never deliver, but they certainly profit to the tune of millions and millions of dollars at this. And I, for one, am sick of it. If you don't have real evidence, then you don't deserve to make money selling stories you claim are true, right? That's my take on it. So what else can I say, friends? That's all I got for you. We'll be back sometime tomorrow. Follow me on Twitter at Stephen Cambion. I will announce the next show on Twitter tomorrow, probably tomorrow morning. We'll figure out what we're doing here. And regardless, I'll be back tomorrow, and I hope you'll be here with me. So we want to thank all of our kind and generous benefactors. We want to thank our chat room moderators, Spooky, and our announcer there, Mr. Ian, and everybody else that contributes to making this such a great community. Somebody share the Discord link. You can join our Discord. Visit our website, truthseekershow.com, for all the latest episodes, both audio and video. So that's all I got for you, friends. Until next time, my name is Stephen Cambion. Good night, and God bless all of you.
That do not exist on this planet. Craft that do not exist on this planet. Demonize, 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 demonize. Everyone's been lying to us. Rear its ugly head, demonized. Everyone's been lying to us. Rear its ugly head, demonized. Demonize, 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 demonize. Are their bodies demonized? Yes, yes. Demonized. Are their bodies demonized? Yes, yes. Demonized. Are their bodies demonized? Demonized. Are their bodies demonized? Demonized. There are UFO study programs. Demonized. Illegal programs. Yes. Demonized. Yes, yes, yes. Demonized. There are UFO study programs. Demonized. Illegal programs. Yes. Demonized. Yes, yes, yes. Demonized. We have no evidence. Demonized. Yes, 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 yes. Demonized. We have no evidence. Demonized. Yes, 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 yes. Demonized. We have no evidence. Demonized. Yes, 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 yes. Demonized. We have no evidence. Demonized. Yes, 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 yes. Demonized. Craft that do not exist on this planet. Craft that do not exist on this planet. Craft that do not exist on this planet. Craft that do not exist.
Yes, 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 yes.
Are their bodies demonized? Demonized. Are their bodies demonized? Demonized. 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 Demonized.
There are UFO study programs.
Demonized.
Illegal programs. Yes.
Demonized.
Yes, yes, yes.
Demonized.
There are UFO study programs.
Demonized.
Illegal programs. Yes.
Demonized.
Yes, yes, yes.
Demonized.
Yes, 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 yes.